Hey there, ready to tackle some of life's biggest questions? Like, what is the meaning of life?
Ooh, yeah.
Today, we're going to dive deep into Alfred Adler's What Life Could Mean to You
Okay.
to uncover his insights on purpose, potential, and how our early experiences kind of shape our journeys.
It's a question that has, fascinated thinkers for centuries.
Yeah.
And Adler offers this really unique perspective
Okay.
that emphasizes our interconnectedness and the importance of social interest.
Mm.
It's not just about seeking personal happiness, he argues,
Okay.
but about finding fulfillment through contributing to something larger than ourselves.
Okay. So it's less about me, myself, and I, and more about we're all in this together.
Exactly.
That's a refreshing take in a world that often feels so focused on like individual achievement.
Exactly. Adler believed that our desire to contribute to society stems from those feelings of inferiority we all experience to some degree.
Right.
He suggests these feelings aren't inherently negative. They can be powerful motivators for growth.
So instead of letting those feelings of not being enough hold us back, we can actually use them as fuel to like propel ourselves forward.
Precisely. It's all about how we channel that energy.
Okay.
Adler argues that true fulfillment comes from directing our striving for significance towards something beyond ourselves, contributing to society, building strong relationships, working towards a common good.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's almost like he's saying that trying to find meaning in life solely through like personal pursuits might leave us feeling empty in the long run.
That's a great way to put it. Adler believed that a life solely focused on individual gain ultimately leads to a sense of isolation and lack of purpose.
Yeah.
He reminds us that we are social creatures by nature and our well-being is deeply intertwined with the well-being of others.
So how do we tap into that sense of social interest and start living a more meaningful life?
Adler would say it starts with understanding our style of life. He uses this term to describe our unique approach to navigating the world, shaped by our early experiences and those core beliefs we develop about ourselves and others.
So it's like our childhoods become the blueprint for how we interact with the world as adults.
Exactly. And those early memories we carry, whether it's of a grandparent's funeral, a moment of triumphs, or even a sibling rivalry, reveal a lot about how we've learned to approach life's challenges. These experiences shape our perceptions, our behaviors, and ultimately our capacity for connection and contribution.
So you're saying those seemingly insignificant childhood moments can actually have a huge impact on who we become later in life.
Mm.
That's fascinating. Can you give an example of how that might play out?
Absolutely. Think about the example Adler gives of the child who wets the bed to get attention.
Hmm.
On the surface, it might seem like just bad behavior.
Right.
But Adler suggests it's their way of trying to exert control, to feel significant in a world where they feel powerless.
It's like they're trying to fulfill that innate need for belonging and significance, but they're going about it in a way that's ultimately like self-defeating.
Precisely. And this highlights the importance of fostering a sense of belonging and purpose from a young age.
Yeah.
Children need to feel like valued members of their families and communities, empowered to contribute in positive ways. Otherwise, they might seek significance through less healthy means.
So how do we encourage that healthy development? How do we help children cultivate that sense of social interest and find constructive ways to channel their energy and talents?
Adler believed that cooperation is key.
Okay.
He argues that true fulfillment comes from working together, supporting one another, and striving towards a common good.
Mm.
And this all starts in childhood.
Okay.
He stresses the importance of children feeling like equal members of their families and classrooms, where they can learn to cooperate, resolve conflicts peacefully, and support each other's growth.
So it's about creating environments where collaboration and empathy are valued, not just competition and individual achievement.
Exactly. Adler believed that a focus on competition ultimately leads to a sense of scarcity and insecurity, where individuals are constantly striving to prove themselves superior to others. In contrast, cooperation fosters a sense of abundance and interconnectedness, where individuals recognize that we can achieve more when we work together towards a common goal.
That makes sense. But how do we shift away from that, like, deeply ingrained societal focus on competition, especially in areas like education and career? It seems like we're constantly being told we need to outperform others to succeed.
You've hit on a key challenge. Adler was actually very critical of the traditional education system, which he felt was too focused on rote learning, memorization, and competition.
Right.
He envisioned a system that nurtured individual talents, fostered a love of learning, and emphasized the practical applications of knowledge, especially when it comes to making a positive impact on the world.
Okay, so it's less about cramming information and more about cultivating critical thinking, creativity, and a sense of purpose.
Exactly. And he believed that fostering social interest within the education system is vital. Imagine a school where children are encouraged to identify their unique strengths, collaborate on projects that benefit their communities, and see firsthand how their contributions make a real difference.
That sounds like a much more engaging and empowering learning experience.
It certainly does. And Adler believed that this type of education would not only benefit individuals, but also create a more cooperative and compassionate society as a whole.
So it's about moving away from that every man for himself mentality
Yeah.
and embracing a more collaborative and community-minded approach.
Precisely. And this shift in perspective can have a profound impact on how we approach everything from our relationships to our careers to our role in society as a whole.
That's a powerful thought. But before we dive into those specific areas, I'm curious about something you mentioned earlier, the idea of our style of life. You said those early memories we carry can reveal a lot about how we navigate the world.
Right.
But what about our dreams? Do they hold any significance in understanding who we are and why we make the choices we make?
That's a fantastic question, and you're right to bring it up.
Yeah. Adler believed that dreams are not just random firings of our subconscious minds, but rather a reflection of our style of life and a valuable tool for understanding our deepest fears, desires, and motivations.
So you're saying our dreams can offer valuable clues about how we see the world and how we approach challenges, even if those interpretations aren't immediately obvious.
Precisely. He argued that by paying attention to the recurring themes, emotions, and symbols that pop up in our dreams, we can gain valuable insights into our style of life and uncover those subconscious beliefs that might be holding us back.
That's amazing. It's like our dreams are a secret language we can learn to decipher, offering us a deeper understanding of ourselves and our place in the world. Exactly. And by learning to interpret those messages, we can start to challenge those limiting beliefs, overcome obstacles, and create a life that is more aligned with our true potential.
This is all so insightful, but let's bring it back down to earth a bit. How do these concepts, the power of social interest, understanding our style of life, and interpreting our dreams, actually play out in our day-to-day lives? I know we touch on education, but what about areas like relationships, careers, and our overall sense of fulfillment?
Those are excellent questions, and they get to the heart of how Adler's ideas can be applied in practical and transformative ways. And that's exactly what we'll explore next as we delve deeper into how this understanding of social interest can lead to a more meaningful and fulfilling life.
So we're talking about, like, applying Adler's ideas to everyday life. Where do we even begin?
Well, let's start with relationships. Adler believed that truly fulfilling relationships, whether it's with a partner, friend, or family member, are rooted in that same principle of social interest.
So it's about approaching relationships with a sense of cooperation and mutual respect, rather than those like old school power dynamics.
Exactly. He felt those hierarchical relationships, where one person is dominant and the other submissive, are bound to breed resentment and conflict. True partnership, for Adler, thrives on equality, where both individuals feel valued, heard, and empowered to be themselves.
It's about recognizing that both people bring something unique and valuable to the table, right? Like two pieces of a puzzle coming together.
That's a great way to put it. And just like on a successful team, both partners need to feel like they're contributing and that their contributions are appreciated. It's not about keeping score, but about working together towards a common goal.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But what about when things get tough? Adler seems to suggest that running away from challenges isn't the answer.
You're right. He definitely wasn't a fan of taking the easy way out. He saw facing challenges head on, working through them collaboratively, as the key to strengthening those bonds and emerging even closer than before.
So it's about seeing those inevitable bumps in the road not as deal breakers, but as opportunities for growth and deeper understanding.
Precisely. And this principle applies not just to romantic relationships, but to all our interactions with friends, family, even colleagues. It's about approaching every relationship with a spirit of cooperation, empathy, and a genuine desire to understand where the other person is coming from.
That's a tall order. But I can see how that shift in perspective, that focus on shared goals and mutual respect, could make a huge difference.
It absolutely can. Now, let's talk about careers. Remember Adler's idea that our style of life is reflected in everything we do? Well, he believed our career aspirations can reveal a lot about those deep-seated beliefs and motivations.
So you're saying our dream job isn't just about the work itself, but about what it fulfills within us.
Exactly. He argued that aligning your career with your innate talents and your desire to contribute to something larger than yourself is key to finding true fulfillment. It's not just about paying the bills, but about finding a sense of purpose and meaning in your work.
That makes a lot of sense. But what if you're stuck in a job that doesn't feel particularly meaningful? I feel like a lot of people can relate to that.
You're right, that's a common experience. Adler wouldn't say to just quit your day job on a whim, but he would encourage you to examine what aspects of your current work align with your values and where you can find opportunities to contribute, even in small ways.
So it's about finding those pockets of meaning, those moments where you feel like you're making a positive impact, even within a less than ideal situation.
Exactly. And it's also about using those experiences as stepping stones. Maybe that unfulfilling job helps you develop skills or connections that you can leverage for a more fulfilling career down the line. It's about approaching every experience, even the challenging ones, as opportunities for growth and learning.
That's a much more empowering way to look at it.
Yeah.
Now, I want to circle back to something we touched on earlier, the impact of those early childhood experiences. You mentioned birth order as one example. Can you elaborate on that?
Of course. Adler believed that our position within the family structure can significantly influence our personality development and how we approach challenges later in life.
So you're telling me that being the oldest, middle, or youngest child can actually shape our tendencies and how we interact with the world. That's fascinating. Tell me more.
It really is fascinating. Take the oldest child, for example. They often experience a period of being the center of attention, showered with praise and often a bit spoiled. But then a younger sibling arrives, and suddenly their world is turned upside down.
They get dethroned. I can see how that could lead to some insecurities or a need to constantly prove themselves.
Exactly. Some oldest children might become overachievers, always striving to regain that top spot. Others might channel that experience into becoming responsible caregivers, almost like a surrogate parent to their younger siblings. It all depends on their individual style of life and how they interpret those early experiences.
It's like those early family dynamics become a microcosm of how we learn to navigate relationships and challenges in the wider world.
Precisely. And it's not just about the oldest child. The youngest often enjoys the perks of being the baby, potentially receiving a lot of pampering and attention, but that can come with its own challenges, right? They might struggle with independence or have difficulty coping with setbacks.
Because they've always had someone there to pick up the pieces.
Exactly. But Adler also observed that the youngest often benefits from having multiple role models in their older siblings. They have a front row seat to observe different approaches to life and learn from their successes and failures.
It's like they have a built-in support system and a wealth of experience to draw from.
Exactly. And then there's the middle child, often described as the negotiators of the family. They're skilled at mediating conflicts, finding common ground, and navigating complex social situations.
It's so fascinating how something as seemingly simple as birth order can have such a profound impact on our personalities and tendencies.
It is. And while birth order is just one piece of the puzzle, it highlights how those early family dynamics, those first experiences with cooperation, competition, and navigating our place within a group, can leave a lasting impression on how we approach life's challenges.
It makes you realize how interconnected our personal and social experiences really are. We're not just individuals navigating the world in isolation. We carry those early influences with us, shaping how we interact with others and find our place in the larger community.
Exactly. And that brings us back to the importance of fostering social interest from a young age. If we want to cultivate a more cooperative, empathetic, and fulfilling world, it starts with creating environments where children feel a sense of belonging, where they're empowered to contribute, and where cooperation is valued over competition.
It's about planting those seeds of social interest early on so they can blossom into a more meaningful and connected life, both for individuals and for society as a whole.
Precisely. And it's never too late to nurture those seeds within ourselves. Whether we're reflecting on our childhood experiences, examining our dreams, or striving to cultivate more fulfilling relationships, Adler's insights offer a powerful roadmap for personal growth and a deeper sense of purpose.
It's amazing how these seemingly simple concepts,
Right.
cooperation, social interest,
Yeah.
understanding our early experiences,
Yeah.
can have such a profound ripple effect on our lives.
It really is. And it's never too late to start applying these ideas. Adler believed we have the power to change our style of life,
Okay.
to challenge those old patterns and create a more fulfilling and meaningful existence.
So even if someone feels like stuck in those unhealthy patterns,
Right.
trapped by those like early experiences,
Yeah,
there's still hope.
absolutely.
Right.
Adler was a firm believer in our capacity for growth and change.
Yeah.
He argued that by becoming more aware of our style of life, by understanding those deep-seated beliefs that drive our behaviors, we can start to make more conscious choices that lead to greater fulfillment.
So it's about recognizing those patterns and then actively choosing a different path.
Exactly. And remember, those changes don't have to be massive, sweeping life overhauls.
Okay.
Adler believed that even small shifts in perspective, small acts of courage and cooperation, can have a ripple effect on our lives and the world around us.
I love that.
Yeah.
The idea that we don't have to wait for some like grand transformation
Yeah.
to start living a more meaningful life.
Yeah,
It can start with those small everyday choices.
precisely. And, this all circles back to that fundamental question we started with. What is the meaning of life?
Right.
Adler believed that the meaning of life isn't something we find out there in the world, but something we create through our actions, our interactions, and our contributions.
So it's not about like searching for some preordained purpose,
Right.
but about actively crafting a life of meaning through the choices we make each day.
Exactly. It's about recognizing our interconnectedness, embracing those feelings of social interest, and choosing to act in ways that benefit not just ourselves, but also those around us.
It's a powerful message of like empowerment, isn't it?
Yeah.
It suggests that we have more agency in shaping our destinies than we might realize.
It certainly is, and it's a message that resonates deeply with people from all walks of life.
Yeah.
Adler's ideas offer a timeless roadmap for navigating the challenges of the human experience, for cultivating deeper connections, finding greater fulfillment, and ultimately creating a world that reflects our shared values of cooperation, compassion, and contribution.
It's about recognizing that we're all in this together,
Wow.
and that by supporting each other's growth and striving towards a common good, we can create a more meaningful and fulfilling life, not just for ourselves, but for generations to come.
Well said.
And there you have it. Alfred Adler's insights on the meaning of life and how to unlock your full potential. We hope this deep dive has provided you with some food for thought and perhaps even inspired you to embrace those feelings of social interest and make a positive impact on the world around you. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep striving to make a difference.